Hello everyone and welcome to the 2022 KC Fire Track Club introductory meeting. This is a meeting to help explain to parents and guardians how our club operates and what to look forward to in practices and the season. Let's get started here. My name is Matt Maynard, and as you can see, I'm one of the coaches of KC Fire Track Club, and I coach the middle distance, distance, and the multis. That means like the pentathlon, the heptathlon, and decathlon athletes, as well as the javelin. We have a full list of our other coaches there, and we have such an unbelievable staff to help us out. We all volunteer our time. None of our coaches are paid, and so we're a nonprofit club, and we also volunteer our time to coach the club, and we absolutely love what we do. If you ever have any questions, you can reach out to these specific coaches. So you might want to take a screenshot or a picture of this screen so you can talk with your respective son or daughter's coach if you have any questions about what to do maybe on off days or anything related to their performance. So for communication, we want to kind of get this right up front. For communication, we utilize something called TeamApp, and obviously you can see there our email addresses as well. We encourage you to, again, take a screenshot of this or copy down the phone numbers. You can reach us by text or call. This is our cell numbers. The app that we use is called TeamApp. The logo is slightly different this year, but it is still called TeamApp. There is one other variation of the name, but if you do search TeamApp in your app store, you'll definitely find it. And then once you find the TeamApp and install it, search for our team, and it's KC Fire Track Club, and you should see it. And then ultimately, this is what you should see when you install the app and select our team. So we use our app for all communication, especially when it comes to practice times and cancellations or updates on track meets related to weather, practice times related to weather as well. So this is a great resource for anyone here. Please make sure that you turn on your notifications in the team app. Track Mom at KC Fire Track Club, that is Coach Bethany, and that is her phone number there, and she can definitely help you with any issues with the app. She's our team expert on that, and most of the team communications will come out from her for the team and related communications. So our practices are held at Discovery Middle School in Liberty, and we practice Tuesdays and Thursdays and some Saturdays. Our Tuesdays and Thursday practices will be at 6:30. And our Saturday practices are a little bit to be determined, but we anticipate a 10 o'clock start. And we will let you know via the team app if we plan on having a Saturday practice. We'll have a few at the beginning of the season, and then our meets will kick up, so we won't have Saturday practices, but we will have practices again in the summer. Usually those become our specialty practices like hurdles, long jump, javelin. We may practice on those days. For the practice, we ask that you arrive a few minutes early, 5 to 10 minutes early, to make sure your athlete can get there and get situated before practice begins. And our practice will last about an hour and a half. So we ask that you arrive about an hour and 15 minutes later. An hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half is about the longest that we will go in practice. Very, very rarely will we ever go over that, and that's usually for the older athletes that we might be working on specific things. We do ask that parents of younger kids plan on attending the practices. So if your athlete is 10 and under, we ask that parents stay there. At the very beginning, we ask that you stay in the bleachers there at Discovery Middle School and actually watch your athlete. Once a few weeks pass and we have a few practices under our belts, you're free to hang out in the parking lot. A lot of parents will even bring chairs and just sit on the sidewalk and look down at their athletes, and that's completely fine to do as well. Older parents, we do ask that you stay close by, so that way if there is an an issue with your athlete, an injury or something like that, or if weather changes suddenly, we can get the athletes to safety. We do ask that the parents provide the water and everything that's appropriate. Some days in early season it can get pretty cold, so make sure that they have appropriate clothing on if it does start to get cold. Definitely bring the water. There is a water spigot there, and that is city water that can be consumed, but we ask that you not drink directly out of it, so a water bottle is appropriate. As I said earlier on the inclement weather, we as coaches have a weather app that shows us lightning strikes within 10 miles and will send us an immediate alert to our phone. So if we have any serious weather approaching, we will know about it early, and we will make sure that we can get everyone to safety. So please make sure you do, again, stay close by. Obviously on days that are really super hot, we'll still have practice unless the heat index is above 105, but we do know that younger athletes are going to be susceptible to that heat, so please, if you can, even think about bringing a cooler with a really cold towel in it, or one of the heat control towels that you can get. Obviously, you can get those at Dick's or Academy. Those are great too. Ice water is fantastic. We will practice in the rain. The only time we won't practice is if there is lightning or hail. So plan on attending practice. So the different events we have, we'll kind of group these into a couple categories here. Our sprints, that's the 100, 200, 400, and then our hurdles. And you can see there that the hurdles come in a couple different distances, and males and females have different heights of hurdles as well. We also have the relays, the 4x1 and 4x4, and anytime we can, we most definitely try to put together relay teams. Kids loving relays, and those are great fun. But we do want to. A lot of parents will ask us, "Do you really teach them how to run well and form and the mechanics of running?" And the answer is yes, yes, and yes. So we're sticklers for running form, no matter what your sport. Even if you're going to be a huge football lineman someday, you've got to sprint at least a short distance, and we want all of our athletes to be have very good sprint mechanics, very good running form. That way they know how to move fast no matter what their sport is. We can get them to be a better athlete by training them with proper mechanics. So field events. Field events are kind of exactly what it sounds like. Shot, put, discus, long jump, javelin, and turbo javelin. Turbo javelin is kind of like a yard dart. It's what the younger athletes will throw when they can't throw the regular javelin. And here again, very specifically, we teach technique and mechanics. We work on event-specific agility. So obviously a thrower versus a long jumper will do very different workouts and have very different things that they'll focus on. But we want to teach our young athletes how to be the best they can at their events. And we've actually ended up having some pretty incredible athletes that have gone on in our field events to win nationals and place in the top 8 at nationals. So we have quite a few All-American athletes from the field events, and we absolutely love the field events and coach those up. So middle distance and distance. These will seem very much the same, and in essence for some age groups they are. For the younger kids, the 800 and 1500 is the longest that they'll be able to run. For older athletes, if they're over 11, they'll be able to run the 3,000 meters, so that's obviously a longer race. The 800 meters, for those of you that aren't quite familiar with meters, is 2 laps around the track, and that's a half mile basically, really close. The 1500 meters and the 3,000 are kind of the metric version of the mile and 2 mile in high school. Those athletes will run in Kansas and Missouri the 1632. but in international races, the 1500 and the 3000 is what is competed in, and so that's what we do here in club track as well. So the workouts will look very similar. They'll be obviously longer, timed runs, interval training. When we get to the older athletes, that's where we really start to separate them out, because a runner who might run the 400, 800, or say an 800, 1500 would probably not be doing the same workout of someone that runs the 1500 and the 3000. Now there are some times where we will run the same workouts, but maybe those runners that concentrate on the longer races will do a higher volume. So that's kind of where we might get into some differences. And every once in a while we'll bring our 400 meter runners up, and they will do the same workout that our 800 meter runners do, to help get them conditioned for that longer sprint race. Again, the distance workouts, a lot of the same or very, very similar workouts that our shorter middle distance runners will do. But obviously if you're a 3,000 meter runner, you just simply have to put in more volume and probably not quite as fast as most of your 800 meter runners will run. So our affiliation and a tentative schedule. So we are affiliated with the AAU, and in the United States there are two big sanctioning organizations. One is the USATF and the other is the AAU. In the Midwest, the AAU tends to be the dominant sanctioning body. The meets are quite a bit larger. There's quite a bit a larger competitive field, and so that's who we're associated with. We have run in the past several USATF meets, including the USATF Junior Olympics when they were at KU, but other than that, we take the path to the Junior Olympics of the AAU. And these meets here that you see are all sanctioned by the AAU this year, including obviously the qualifying meets. And one of the differences is the developmental meets are just that. They're generally for a little bit younger athletes until you get to that June 18th meeting, and then the older kids can start coming in and competing. The May 30th meet, you'll see a few high schoolers maybe that didn't compete at the state meet in there. And then after that, there are the qualifying meets. And the qualifying meets are just kind of like they sound. There's the top 16 from either the June 4th or 10th meet will move on to the region meet in Joplin, Missouri. And then those who qualify in the top 6 from that meet can move on and compete in the Junior Olympics in Greensboro, North Carolina. And there are other meets. Actually, even this week there were a couple other meets that were announced that will go on the calendar. So please be looking at the website on the schedule page, and I will have all the links out there from the website to the actual registration system. And we use Coach O for all of our meet registration. All the meet fees are paid directly through Coach O to each of the respective meet hosts. So the only meets that don't go to the hosting team are those last 4 meets, and those are for directly to the AAU themselves. But again, we utilize that same Coach O registration system, and we'll put all of this information, how to create an account, how to get registered, in the team app, and communicate that out so everyone will have plenty of time to get registered. The AAU, as I said before, is our sanctioning body, and that's why we actually require, and the AAU does too, that all of the athletes have an AAU membership. It's very inexpensive. I think it's $14 for the youth, and that covers us as a team with our insurance, because we're a team officially sanctioned by the AAU, and so they have our umbrella policy. They cover us with all the liability. They do our background checks on the coaches and all of that piece of the administration that small teams like ours obviously couldn't afford to do with some of those legal fees. So they cover us in that way. Sponsorship opportunities. every single year we end up scholarshiping a significant number of athletes. And so people have often asked, do the coaches get paid? Where does the money go? Being a club, we are a nonprofit club. All of our coaches, as I said earlier, volunteer their time and expertise, and we take the money that is donated and it goes for facility rentals, equipment. Obviously, having a track team gets fairly expensive. We're not like a school where any given year we have $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 budget. We actually have to purchase our own equipment, replace it every single year. Tents break, equipment gets lost, or equipment get damaged that we have to replace. So that and the combination of scholarshiping athletes, we never want to be in a situation where a family wants their athlete to be able to join the team and can't because of money. So we sometimes provide full scholarships. Sometimes if it's, say, a multiple athlete family, we give significant discounts or completely scholarship to the second athlete. So the money goes to good use, and that's why we ask that if you own a business or if your company's in a position to sponsor, we have some great sponsorship packages, and we definitely believe in promoting those businesses that support us. And so we just ask that that if there's an opportunity, that you would let us know the contact information of the individual that might be willing to sponsor us, and we will use that money to help our club grow and help families in the Northland that want to participate. Uniforms and registration. So our uniforms are all custom uniforms. And they take about 5 weeks to get here. So we ask that all the uniforms are ordered early. We do have some what we would call stock uniforms. So, for example, we have quite a few high school athletes that will join us later that just didn't sign up, and we do have stock uniforms that can be purchased that we keep a fairly decent selection available. So we do have uniform options. If you do sign up later than when the uniform cutoff date is, that's completely fine. You can reach out to Coach Bethany. That's at the Track Mom email or her phone number on that screen, and she can help you with getting fitted for a uniform, whether it be a stock uniform or one of the custom uniforms. So that is what we have for the parent meeting for 2022. I'm sure there will be a lot of other questions that need to be answered, and look forward to all the information either coming through the team app, or we will have a parent meeting at the very first practice for a few minutes to talk over some logistics there about practices, and then we usually have one mid-season when we talk about the qualifying meets and what it takes to get to the Junior Olympics. Thank you, everyone, for watching the presentation, and have a great track season.